But what kind of person was Wu Taijiang? Ever since this pair of hammers appeared in his hands, the murderous aura that accompanied it shocked Wu Taijiang immensely. When a divine weapon was born, its spirituality would be born. With Wu Taijiang's eyesight and experience, he could absolutely conclude that this would be a divine weapon of slaughter that would cause a monstrous calamity in the future. Such a weapon and its owner would definitely leave their names in history and shock the world. As for how far this weapon and its owner would go in the future, Wu Taijiang could not say, or rather, could not imagine. Through fate and coincidence, he had formed a good relationship with such a person when he was still weak. There would definitely be benefits in the future. And this matter was personally decided by the weapon grandmaster's father, Zhuo Changlu. It was as good as a nail on a board. How could Wu Taijiang, who knew the key points of this matter, not be excited? After calming himself down, Wu Taijiang continued his introduction. Come, I'll teach you how to dismantle and reload hidden weapons. Thank you, Uncle Wu. And so on, and so on. Do you remember all of them? Yes. Actually, I wanted to carve the patterns on these two hammers. But at the moment when they were finally formed, I did not control the intensity of the primordial fire well and was distracted for a moment. Although Wu Taijiang said that he was distracted for a moment, there was a sincere and proud smile on his face. It's probably a mistake. It was that moment of absent-mindedness that caused the patterns on the two hammers to undergo an unexpected change. One of them is sunshine over mountains and rivers, the other is moon over mountains and rivers. The patterns on the two hammers are exactly the same, but I did not carve them intentionally. The divine weapons have spirits and formed the patterns on their own. There's such a thing. Hearing this, even Zhuo Changlu was shocked. He stood up and came over to take a look. At first glance, there seemed to be nothing on the surface of the hammers. But upon closer inspection, one could vaguely see mountains and rivers. There was a blazing sun in the sky that shone in all directions and reflected on all things. The pattern on the other hammer was exactly the same, but the one that shone in all directions was the moon. The atmosphere was also cold and clear. Zhuo Changlu clicked his tongue in wonder. Taijiang, you really didn't carve this pattern on purpose? Wu Taijiang smiled bitterly. Chapter 279. Zhuo Xiaoduo didn't know that the name he came up with actually made these two big shots so depressed. Right now, he was in high spirits and full of interest. He was like a child who had gotten the toy of his dreams. He was constantly trying to figure it out, studying it, and having a lot of fun. Sigh. Two deep sighs came from the side. For the whole afternoon, Zhuo Xiaoduo was studying his new treasured hammers. He carefully and seriously tried to figure out every link and every detail. Apart from the weight, the two pairs of hammers looked exactly the same. Just from the appearance alone, there was no difference at all. Even the feeling of holding the hammers was exactly the same. Of course, the premise was that he didn't raise his hand and didn't let the hammers leave the ground. It's really amazing. He was studying the hammers in his father's shop. Next door, Wu Taijiang had already started to pack quickly. This kid still needs to further polish his strength. Wu Taijiang took out two things that looked like mechanical arms and handed them to Zhuo Changlu. These two things can be installed on the arms, from the arms to the shoulders. They can operate naturally with any muscle and bone movements. The only advantage of these things is that they are heavy. My master gave them to me when I was training my arm strength in the past. One side is 1,500 kilograms. Let Xiao Duo install them on his arms. And the other side is 2,500 kilograms, and the other side is 30,000 kilograms. Give them to him too. Wu Taijiang pondered for a moment and took out the other two sets. The others are fine, but only the one with 30,000 kilograms. When he gets used to it, he has to return it to me. My boss is about to start practicing to the level of 30,000 kilograms. Okay, I got it. Usually, when you tie it to your hand, it can cover your entire arm. Not only can it train your strength, but it's also an excellent defensive treasure. Ordinary divine weapons can hardly hurt it. Wu Taijiang smiled, full of confidence and arrogance. Oh, these are actually the ones you used to. There's one more thing. Tell Xiao Duo in private that the needles I gave him should not be used as much as possible. They're too lethal. With his current realm, it's a waste to use them, and it's easy for him to become dependent on them. You can find another blacksmith to make a similar batch of blacksmiths. Leave a small part for emergencies. It will be enough to cope with the crisis. When you break through to the nascent soul transformation stage, you can use it comprehensively. The effect will be better. That's right. That's what I was thinking. You and sister-in-law have always tried to take advantage of others and exploited their temperaments. Other than that, there's nothing else you can say. Wu Taijiang straightened his body and thought for a moment before saying, That's right. I've placed the Ice Phoenix's soul inside our daughter's sword. She needs to comprehend that thing on her own, so we can't rush it. Zhou Changlu was moved. Taijiang, the gifts you've given these two children this time are too generous. Wu Taijiang smiled. Originally, I just wanted to give my child a gift for our first meeting. Now, because of you, it has changed. Because of fate and coincidence, it's really not up to people at all. In the future, maybe I'll benefit more from it. I'll take it as paving the way for myself in the future. He blinked and said, Our daughter's tribulation has been almost broken by that boy, right? Almost. Zhou Changlu smiled. Almost 80%. Then it must stop. Wu Taijiang chuckled and said, It's not up to me to say this. You know better than I do that you can't go too far. But I'm afraid that you're in the situation, and it's your daughter's matter. Now, only 20% is left to fight against the heavens. It's already very, very small and somewhat meaningless. Chapter 280. Please speak. I'm very confident that our second high school will be able to rise to the top in the entire Central Plains and even become the leader of the Yanwu Empire. No one will be able to shake us. That will be the greatest glory since the establishment of second high school. It's a pity that I won't be able to see it. He Yuanyue said softly, When the time comes, remember to burn a stick of incense for me so that I can hear this good news in the underworld and have no regrets. Yes. Hu Ruoyan allowed her tears to flow slowly, but she did not dare to wipe them away. The second thing is about the arrangements for the students. He Yuanyue said softly, Zhou Xiaoduo, Long Yusheng, Wan Li Xiu, Yu Moyan, Li Changming, and Li Chenglong. Participate in the recruitment competition. Yes. Then, when it comes to choosing schools, no matter how much pressure there is, we can't let these 6 people enter the same martial arts school at the same time. These 6 people are the best of the best. Now that they're out of the bag, it's natural that they're unstoppable. It's only right that they enter the top martial arts school in the Central Plains. Even entering Shangjing's Yinduan martial arts school is in the bag. However, if we gather all of them in the same school, it'll be inappropriate for them. Their providence won't be enough. It'll cause the strong to become stronger and the weak to become weak. They'll become vulgar. He Yuanyue said word by word, a leader has already appeared among them. Although we're happy to see it happen, if we gather all of them together, the other 5 will only become Zhou Xiaoduo's underlings and brothers. Although they'll still grow, the providence of the others will be suppressed by Zhou Xiaoduo's providence. Their future growth and outlook will be limited. We can only let them go and break them up. Let them scatter to different martial arts schools and be the main characters of their respective schools. Don't grant their wish to be together just because they have a good relationship. That'll only harm them and ruin their future. He Yuanyue's eyes turned sharp as she said, Don't ruin your child's future because of a moment of soft-heartedness. Hu Ruoyan and Li Changjiang both nodded solemnly. Previously, they had really discussed this matter. If these boys entered the same school, they would advance together and create a story of mutual support, brotherhood, and forever together. However, after hearing He Yuanyue's words, he immediately changed his mind. In this world, anyone could have selfish motives. Only He Yuanyue would not. Her words were definitely the best choice for these children. Those who should walk together, those who should walk side by side in the future. Sooner or later, they will all come together. He Yuanyue said softly, there's no need to be meticulous. 100 rivers converging into the sea is the true sea. What gathered together and rushed into the sea was merely a tributary. Understand? Understood. In the future, when you educate your children, teach your students, and choose a future for your students, you must remember my words. He Yuanyue's gaze was distant as she murmured, I really want to see them rise all the way, defeat all the participating students, and reach the pinnacle of their lives. I really want to see them pick up the first place trophy on the high platform and tell everyone that I'm from Phoenix City's second high. It's a pity that He Yuanyue smiled faintly. Then, she turned around and said, Qin Fangyang. This time, she did not address him as Teacher Qin. Instead, she called him by his name. Qin Fangyang's heart trembled. He said, I'm here. I hope that you can protect these children well. He Yuanyue said, there's one thing that I don't feel comfortable letting others do. However, if I let you do it, there's a high chance that you'll die. What is this guy thinking? The two of them looked at each other. After confirming that they were indeed on the same page, they blinked. Two pairs of eyes turned to Yu Moyan at the same time. Then, the two Lees worked together to trick Yu Moyan, who came from an ordinary family and didn't attend banquets, soon fell into the hole and couldn't climb out. Zwa! Let me toast you. Zwa, let me toast you again. Li Zhongming and Li Chenglong looked at each other and smiled. Success. Zwa, thank you for taking care of me all this time. Yu Moyan has improved a lot, and he also knows his mistakes. He knows that he was narrow-minded and short-sighted before. Let me toast you for guiding me. From now on, Yu Moyan will carry out the words Moyan. I will do my best to fulfill the wishes of the old principal. Let me toast you again. It's a pleasure to be friends and brothers in this life. I'll drink, you can drink whatever you want. Li Chenglong didn't expect that after drinking, Yu Moyan's eloquence would be so good, and his alcohol tolerance was so high. He toasted Zhua Xiaoduo 5 times in a row. That cup was 3 taels of wine. Even if Yu Moyan drank low alcohol, his head was still dizzy. Zhua Xiaoduo also felt that the atmosphere was good today. He was in a good mood and had feelings, so he naturally wanted to get drunk. Of course. If he got drunk, he could avoid the embarrassing performance. Just now, it was just his imagination, so it couldn't be counted. Only when he got drunk could he avoid the disaster and not pursue the matter. This was Zhua Xiaoduo's real thought. Of course, another point was that he had never gotten drunk in his life. He also wanted to taste the feeling of getting drunk. Master Zhua had drunk 6 times in his life, but he had never gotten drunk. Every time, he drank a sip with his father. It would be strange if he got drunk. Here, they kept toasting each other, and it was very lively. Master Zhua was completely relaxed. His eyes were blurred, and he put his arm around Li Chenglong's shoulder. He said sincerely, swollen. I really like to see you swollen all over. Come, let's drink. Li Chenglong drank this cup of wine with trepidation. He then put his arm around Li Zhongming and said sincerely, sleep, sleep, you sleep all day long. It's a miracle that your cultivation increased. If you sleep forever, won't you be invincible? Come, drink this cup. Li Zhongming cursed in his heart, you're the one who will sleep forever and become invincible. He put on a sincere expression and drank it all. Time flew by during such a happy time. Soon, most of the guests had left. By the time Wanli Xiao and Long Yusheng came over, the 4 people at the table were already shaking their heads and had blurred eyes. The four of them were hugging each other like Siamese twins and pouring wine into each other's mouths. You toast me, I toast him, and he toast him. Damn! Long Yusheng's eyes widened. They're so high. Most of the guests had left, and the artiste program had also ended. Zhou Xiaoduo, who was already 9.5 minutes drunk, looked at the stage. It had ended. Well, there were only the last 2 tables left. Then the program would be cancelled, and it would be settled. Masters was heart relaxed. Once this last worry was put down, he couldn't help but feel dizzy. It's about time, right? Wanli Shou asked softly. Li Zhongming nodded calmly. Beside him was Li Chenglong, who was calm and collected. Zhou, where's the program you prepared? Wanli Shou questioned, as if she had the pearl of wisdom in her hands. It's almost time to leave. When are you going to perform your program? I've been looking forward to it. Zhou Xiaoduo was almost absent-minded at this moment. He was dizzy and stunned. Damn, what's going on? Why are they asking about it now? What program? There's no one here. It's over. Why do you still want to perform? Oh, Zhou, are you going to renege on your promise? Wanli Shou said angrily, I'm afraid that you don't know anything. I'm afraid that you'll embarrass yourself. That's why I waited until there's only 1 table left to ask you to perform. I just wanted you to show your sincerity. I didn't expect you to renege on your promise. Is there any justice in this? Zhou Xiaoduo was drunk. His brain was not as fast as usual. He said stubbornly, Who? Who wants to renege on my promise? Who? Who's afraid of being embarrassed? If you're not afraid of being embarrassed and don't intend to renege on your promise, where's the program you prepared? The program. It's here. Zhou Xiaoduo's eyes rolled. He looked around the amusement park with his last bit of Qingming festival. Were there really not many people left? As he thought about it, he felt emboldened. He stood up shakily. He was drunk. He said stubbornly, You're lucky today. Listen to me sing a song for you. Humph, when have I, Master Zhou, ever gone back on my promise? We want something more exciting. How can you just sing a song? Li Chenglong smiled evilly, Zhou, can you do it or not? If you can't, just say no. We won't dare to make things difficult for you, boss. Bullshit. Zhou Xiaoduo was furious, who can't do it? You can't do it. Watch me. I'll give you a good performance. I'm a real actor. I'll give you a thrilling performance. Zhou Xiaoduo stumbled all the way to the stage and knocked over 3 chairs. Only then did he manage to get onto the stage with his hands and feet. He was drunk to the point of losing consciousness. But he still looked down subconsciously. He was sure that there were only a few of them left. He couldn't help but feel more relaxed. What music do you want? What song do you want to sing? Wanli Shou asked. Other than Yu Moyan, who was already drunk and snoring under the table, the others were already laughing their heads off. Today's matter was originally discussed by everyone. They wanted to make Zhou look bad. She quickly said a few words. Wanli Shou was stunned when she heard this. She looked puzzled. Gu Luoyen had to say a few more words through voice transmission. Wanli Shou still hesitated for a while. Probably when Zhou Xiaoduo finished the song, she jumped out and offered a glass of wine. Master Zhou didn't refuse and drank it in one gulp. Wanli Shou said loudly, Zhou, in the future, when we are successful, I'm afraid we will have to go to the Sun Moon Pass to participate in the war. Maybe we will die, or be disabled, or be buried in a foreign land. Zhou Xiaoduo's drunkenness was immediately awakened by Wanli Shou's words. What's going on? Xiao, I'm flirtatious. Why did you suddenly bring up such a heavy topic? You're making it hard for me to change my mood. How can I continue? Wanli Shou said, Zhou, think about it. Today is not my birthday, but before I go to the war, what will you say to your family? You can improvise according to the situation. Zhou Xiaoduo was drunk and was thinking about things, inspiration bursting. He said, do I need to think about it? I already have a ready-made one. Wan Lixiu's eyes lit up like light bulbs. Gu Luoyan's eyes also lit up like light bulbs. Then why don't you sing it? Zhou Xiaoduo was silent for a while and then suddenly laughed. Your birthday is the most important. You can say whatever you want. However, the atmosphere you asked for is a bit heavy. The guitar is not suitable for me. I can only listen to it. Just sing it. Zhou Xiaoduo brewed his emotions for a moment, and his body suddenly straightened up. As the prelude of the guitar sounded again, Gu Luoyan also sat up straight. It was just a prelude, but she could hear a lot of things. This was an extremely heavy song. Maybe I'll say goodbye and never come back. Do you understand? Do you understand? Maybe I'll fall and never get up again. Do you want to wait forever? If that's the case, don't be sad. The flag of the Yanwu country has our blood-stained glory. Gu Luoyan sat up straight, tears glistening in her eyes. This song completely shocked Gu Luoyan. Around the Sun-Moon Pass, there were 30,000 miles of tombstones. Which one of them was not a good man? For the sake of victory, those men who rushed into the UMNO Alliance's army and self-destructed. Which one of them was not strong enough to lead a region? Do you believe that I've turned into a mountain range? Gu Luoyan listened carefully and replied in her heart, I believe that every mountain range in the astral souls is a monument made by heroes. After Zhou Xiaoduo finished the song, the shocked Long Yusheng and Wan Lixiu continued to drink until they were dead drunk. Then it became a fight between Li Chenglong, Li Changming, Wan Lixiu, and the others. They were all drunk. In the end, Zhou Xiaoduo was carried back by Zhou Xiaoyan like a dead pig. Zhou Xiaoyan put Zhou Xiaoduo on the bed and sat quietly by the bed. She stared at the little man who reeked of alcohol. The first song had made Zhou Xiaoyan go berserk, but the next song made everyone cry. Damn, looks like you have a lot of secrets. Zhou Xiaoyan's eyes flashed. But if you can sing like this and relax yourself, I feel more confident. I know that you've prepared everything. Zhou Xiaoyan's face was full of satisfaction. Zhou Xiaoyan knew Zhou Xiaoduo the best. Zhou Xiaoyan was certain that his phoenix vein tribulation would not be a problem anymore, just based on the little thing about this kid. Otherwise, Zhou Xiaoduo would not be so relaxed. At least, Zhou Xiaoduo had done everything he could. He had done the best he could. In the governor's mansion, Gu Luoyan did not sleep for the whole night. The melodious yet heavy melody lingered in her heart. She couldn't wait to recall it all night. She even found the governor's mansion to record it. She even asked Wan Pingyuan to block the news and take the original recording with her. Chapter 284. Sir. Fang Yinhua tried to sound him out. I need you to promise me that the UMNO Alliance's elites will all be wiped out. None of them will be left alive. Otherwise, I won't be able to do anything in the UMNO Alliance in the future. Zhou Xiaoduo frowned and said, This. I can only promise you that I will do my best. But you should know that this is very difficult. Fang Yinhua was so anxious that smoke was coming out of his head. I can keep my promise, but my safety needs to be guaranteed. What if these people escape? Zhou Xiaoduo looked at him with bright eyes. At first, I thought that you would ask me to let you escape with some of your men to cover up your betrayal. I didn't expect you to insist on wiping out all the UMNO Alliance's elites. This is a big loss for me. Fang Yinhua smiled awkwardly. To be honest, I've always been a cautious person. Nothing is more important than my own life. Basically, all the forces in the Wizard Alliance have heard about this. Ahem. In this battle, I'm the person with the strongest combat power in the Wizard Alliance. If there's anyone who can survive in this situation, it's definitely me. Therefore, it's natural for me to be able to escape unscathed. No one will doubt it. But the others? There is no need for them to live. Living people are not as reliable as dead people. Fong Inua's face was full of hope. Zhou Xiaoduo laughed. I see. That's fine too. However, if you want me to help you wipe out all the UMNO Alliance's elites, I need you to provide me with more detailed information. Zhou Xiaoduo muttered, this way, I can make the most appropriate arrangements according to the information, and achieve what you want to the greatest extent. However, Fong Inua, this method is equivalent to you arranging your own life. Fong Inua agreed. I understand. I have always been working hard for my life. I will not slack off. After this meeting, we haven't finalized any specific arrangements. Everything will depend on the last gathering to confirm the number of people who will participate in the battle. Once it is confirmed, I will send the information immediately. There will be no delay. That's good. Work hard. My lord, take care. Fong Inua left. Zhou Xiaoduo furrowed his brows and pondered for an entire hour. He had to confirm some things. Were his providence points enough? He checked his luck points. Now, he had accumulated 23 points. These should be about right. Zhou Xiaoduo muttered to himself as he considered his overall plan. He walked out of his hiding place and took a big detour before heading back to the school. And this was the first time that Zhou Xiaoduo had been late for school in so many years. Zhou Xiaoduo's drunkenness from last night had long disappeared, but he was still frowning. He was calculating the odds of success at every step in his heart. Zhou Xiaoduo. A clear but slightly uneasy and timid voice sounded. Zhou Xiaoduo looked in the direction of the voice. He saw a person standing in front of him. Her figure was slim and slender. Her face was delicate to the extreme. Her short hair was very neat. This person was Meng Qinyu. At this moment, her beautiful eyes were looking at him with uneasiness. Her eyes were faintly red. And the current intersection was about a kilometer away from the second middle school. Zhou Xiaoduo instinctively became vigilant. He narrowed his eyes and said, Meng Qinyu. You are looking for me? N. Meng Qinyu nodded vigorously. Her voice was unprecedentedly soft. Zhou Xiaoduo frowned and quickly took out a small mirror to look at himself. And there was no danger. Also, if Meng Qinyu wanted to kill me, she should not have come so openly, right? At least, she would not have done it herself. Even if the Meng family was in a difficult situation and was gradually declining, it would not be to this extent. Zhou Xiaoduo was very clear about this point. From the beginning, when the Meng and Ning families began to sabotage He Yuan's plans, to the construction of the building and ancestral grave, to Meng Qintian becoming the head of the Meng group, to the scheme against Zhou Xiaonian. Bit by bit, there was no escape. The more Zhou Xiaoduo listened, the sharper his gaze became. In other words, you knew about all of the schemes? Yes. What is your goal in coming to find me today? Zhou Xiaoduo's gaze became as cold as ice. I know you will not forgive me. But I want to live. Meng Qinyu raised her delicate face. I am only 18. Xiaoduo, you may not know, but you should have heard that an 18-year-old girl can easily make mistakes. I know I was wrong. But I do not want to die. Zhou Xiaoduo coldly said, as long as you are human, no one wants to die. But if you do not want to die, what is the point of coming to find me? My body has already begun to show those black spots. Meng Qinyu choked. I know that it is a curse. If nothing unexpected happens, I will not be able to live. But I know that you can save me. You're the one who cursed me, aren't you? Meng Qinyu looked at him with eyes full of hope. The feng shui situation was changed by you, right? So you can definitely save me. Whoever started the trouble should end it. But why should I save you? Zhou Xiaoduo remained cold. I can give you everything you want. As long as I have it. Meng Qinyu gently said, although the Meng group has collapsed. the current assets are still an astronomical figure. As long as you save me, I will be the sole legal successor. When that time comes, all of this can be yours. Even I will be yours. You can play however you want. Meng Qinyu quietly said, could it be that you do not feel that playing with the daughter of your enemy is a very satisfying and delightful thing? As for me, as long as I can live, it is fine. Zhou Xiaoduo's eyes became more and more serene. If you are still not at ease. Meng Qinyu gritted her teeth and said, Zhou Xiaoduo, I know everything about the primordial Yin soul transfer. I can. Let you use the primordial Yin soul transfer on my body. Turn me completely into your plaything. Senior sister's astral souls are only 99 astral souls. Using the primordial Yin soul transfer to make up for her, she can become a complete astral soul that has never been seen before. This will create a miracle that the heavenly girl of spiritual thoughts cannot surpass. Xiao Duo, save me. I know you can do it. Meng Qinyu knelt a few steps forward and hugged Zhou Xiaoduo's leg. She begged, Xiao Duo. In the future, I will listen to everything you say. Really? Believe me. Looking at Meng Qinyu's face, Zhou Xiaoduo carefully observed it for a moment. The sadness and despair were real. The pleading was also real. But, faintly, there was a feeling of extreme discomfort and disharmony hidden within. At least from his understanding, Meng Qinyu was definitely not this kind of person. This young girl, with her personality, should not have proposed such a humiliating condition. If it was said that she stubbornly walked the path of death to the end, Zhou Xiaoduo felt that it would be believable. But now, this kind of begging for her life, it really did not make sense. Zhou Xiaoduo faintly said, if I want to change your fate, it is indeed not difficult. Meng Qinyu's eyes lit up. But what happens after that? Zhou Xiaoduo playfully said, let me guess your final plan. After escaping, you will no longer be threatened by death. Although you will lose all your self-esteem and even your chastity, when you become my plaything, you will still be close to me. I believe that you will confidently use your physical advantage to instigate me and tempt me. In order to make me completely at ease, let me use the soul transfer on you to ensure that everything will go smoothly. As long as you use the soul transfer on me, you will suddenly use the secret method to backfire on me. Not only can you kill me, but you can also use the bond between Sister Xiaonian and me, and everything that Sister Xiaonian has will become yours. Zhou Xiaoduo smiled and asked, right? Sure enough, it is an excellent wishful thinking. Other than losing your chastity, the other so-called losses are just temporary. The history books are written by the victors. After that, you will naturally become a female hero and the overlord of Phoenix, right? Meng Qinyu was suddenly stunned, and then her face turned ashen. As long as I'm persuaded by you and use the soul transference technique, it will be good for me, good for Sister Nian, and I'll have a slave for the rest of my life. It's a win-win situation, right? But as long as I want to do that, I will have to raise you, until Sister Xiaonian and I can get married. So your lifespan will be extended invisibly. Even if you can't do it, you can find a chance to escape. Since I have chosen to raise you, I will naturally not let the curse bother you, and you will no longer be in danger. Then, the best outcome would be for me to use the Vitaline soul transfer on you and give you a taste of your own medicine. In summary, this is the truth of your complaint, the most vicious revenge plan. Zhou Xiaoduo sneered, do you think that I, Zhou Xiaoduo, am so stupid that I can do anything for a woman? Or do you think that you are the only one in the world who knows that the soul transfer on me can backfire? Meng Qinyu's eyes completely turned into a black hole. Her face was full of despair and despair. Zhou Xiaoduo gritted his teeth and said word by word, actually, changing your fate and removing the curse for you is not difficult. Look up. Zhou Xiaoduo's words made Meng Qinyu raise her head subconsciously. However, what greeted him was a hammer that was even larger than a large water bucket, which suddenly covered everything in its path. Chapter 285. Zhou Xiaoduo took out a towel from his spatial ring and wiped his hands. Then, He took out a set of clothes and calmly took off his clothes. He was completely naked. Looking at her own naked body, she let out a long sigh. My beautiful body, is it something that you, Meng Chenyu, can touch? He slowly changed his clothes and suddenly stretched out his right hand. An extremely hot feeling came out of his hand. A raging fire rose. Nothing in the desolate house was burned. Only the bloodstains on the ground were engulfed by the flames. The flickering flames illuminated Zhou Xiaoduo's cold and indifferent face. The great sun. After confirming that there were no traces left, Zhou Xiaoduo strode out without looking back. The moment he walked out of the courtyard, a feeling suddenly welled up in his heart. Treat your friends with sincerity, but don't show mercy to your enemies. At this moment, Qin Fangyang's teachings flashed through his mind. Thank you, Teacher Qin. At this moment, He Yuanyue was directing Hu Ruoyun to do her work. She dug out all of her lifelong collection. Everything was categorized and labeled clearly. To mischievous students, students who don't strive for improvement; to gifted students, students who are evil by nature. In this category, He Yuanyue's personal reflections and summaries of her teaching experience were enough to fill a large bookshelf. Looking at these, He Yuanyue said softly, Ruoyun, you must remember. Those who graduate from the second high school may not be strong or martial artists, but as long as they graduate from the second high school, they must first be a person. If you want to do something, you must first be a person. How to be a person? How to let a student learn to be a person with an indomitable spirit. These all require a teacher's teachings. There is no tree that cannot be straightened, and there is no student that cannot be taught. This is not a slogan, nor is it a high standard. It is the most basic integrity of a teacher. He Yuanyue panted, you must remember. I will remember. With tears in her eyes, Hu Ruoyun tidied up bit by bit. At the end of the book, a palm-sized tiny box came into view. The box looked very ordinary, and it wasn't even locked. Hu Ruoyun picked up the box and was about to open it to see what was inside. Bring it here. He Yuanyue gasped for breath with difficulty. Yes. He Yuanyue caressed the box. She wanted to open it several times, but she didn't. Teacher, do you want to open this box? Hu Ruoyun asked subconsciously. He Yuanyue hesitated for a moment and sighed softly, open it. Let me take one last look. Ruoyun, after I leave, don't let anyone see this box. Let it accompany me in the grave. Yes. Hu Ruoyun slowly opened the box. Suddenly, she froze and covered her mouth. Her eyes were filled with indescribable shock. This was because there was only one well-preserved photograph in the wooden box. In the photo, there was a man and a woman. The man was handsome and suave, and the woman was peerless in her generation, a national beauty. The man's face was filled with happiness and satisfaction. The woman was leaning on the man's shoulder. Her face was filled with happiness and sweetness. The man was wearing a well-ironed suit. The woman was wearing a pure white wedding dress. This was a wedding photo. It was the proof of the sweetest moment between a man and a woman. It was just that the man and woman in the photo looked a little familiar. Hu Ruoyun suddenly had an incredulous thought in her heart. Then, she was completely shocked. This. Hu Ruoyun gasped for breath. Her eyes were dull. Suddenly, she murmured, This man. Looks like Teacher Qin Fangyang. This woman. Hu Ruoyun suddenly froze. Because she remembered many years ago. At that time, she was still a young girl. The old principal didn't have white hair back then. At that time, the old principal was still in good spirits. I will talk to him face to face. Is that okay? Gu Luoyen took a step back. No. Zhou Xiaoyan shook her head, I never care about Xiao Duo. My presence will affect his judgment. I don't want to give him any pressure and make him make decisions against his will. What was going on? Shut up. Hurry up and follow me. Mu Yanyan turned and walked away. Oh, oh, oh. Zhua Xiaoduo hurriedly followed her. The group took a detour and found a relatively secluded place nearby. Zhua Xiaoduo looked around. And for a moment, the corner of his mouth couldn't help but twitch. What kind of secluded place is this? I've come here 3 times in one day. There are so many people coming and going, it's almost like a market. Xiaoduo, let me introduce you. Actually, you've seen this before. She's the #1 celebrity of the Yanwu Empire, Gu Luoyan. Zhua Xiaoduo's face was filled with surprise. Wow. Is this the music genius? That's so lucky. Miss Gu, I'm your fan. His exaggerated expression and pretentious actions made Gu Luoyan's stomach swell with anger. She asked angrily, Master Zhua actually likes to listen to my songs. I'm so honored. Which one of my songs has Master Zhua heard before? Zhua Xiaoduo paused. What did this girl mean? Did she have to be so serious? I'm just being polite. What song did Gu Luoyan sing before? He scratched his head and hesitated for a while before saying, 18. That touch. What song? I've never heard of it. Gu Luoyan's stiff face finally broke into a smile. The name of the song this kid mentioned was very rare. She had never heard of it before. What a strange genius. Yen is looking for you, but it's nothing big. I just want to buy a song from you. Mu Yanyan said, we're all on the same side. Don't ask for too much. Just give me some face. Yen is one of my juniors. Song. Zhua Xiaoduo felt that he had been exposed. What song? The second song you sang last night. Gu Luoyan couldn't help but say, that song should be called Bloody Elegance, right? Zhua Xiaoduo was shocked when he heard this. This was a dream that he had. How could this girl know about it? Did he really sing last night? He was about to deny it when he heard the soft voice in front of him singing softly, maybe I'll say goodbye and never come back. Zhua Xiaoduo was dumbfounded. How did you know? Last night. We were there too. We saw you and heard you sing with our own ears. Gu Luoyan had a mischievous look on her face. Zhua Xiaoduo covered his face. It was so embarrassing. Even Master Zhua, who boasted that his face was thicker than the city walls, couldn't take it anymore. After all, Zhua Xiaoduo knew very well what his image would look like when he sang when he was drunk. I want to buy your song. I want to sing this song for the soldiers. Gu Luoyan went straight to the point. Xiaoduo, can you fulfill my wish? Name your price. As long as I can afford it, I won't bargain. Name your price. Won't bargain. Zhua Xiaoduo was startled. This thing could be sold for money. It seemed to be worth a lot of money. Thinking of this, he couldn't help but become spirited. His eyes widened and his mind started to work quickly. Miss Luoyan is a music expert. I don't know anything about the price of an original song. Miss, what price can you offer? Let's hear it. He couldn't make the first offer. He would definitely lose if he made the first offer. Master Zhua was very clear about this. Especially when the other party was determined to get his song. There was a lot of room for manipulation. Gu Luoyan said, this is an original song. I only want the right to sing it. I don't want the rights to the song to be under my name. According to the rules and the current market price, it's usually 10,000 to 20,000 star dollars. For people like me, if they find a song they really like, the price will be higher. The record for the most expensive song in the Yanwu Empire is 200,000 star dollars. Hearing this price, Master Zhua lost his spirit. Just this little money. This is an insult to me, Master Zhua. He couldn't help but be annoyed. Just this little money, is it worth bringing so many people to find me? And, how about this? Zhua Xiaoduo's eyes suddenly turned. I can give you all the rights to the song for free. But I have another condition. What condition? Gu Luoyen hurriedly asked. In 6 days, my sister will break through her current realm. I want to borrow the 2 god shadows beside you to protect my sister and ensure that she succeeds in her breakthrough. How about it? As long as you agree, this song will be yours. I won't take a single cent. Also, I will never touch this song again. This was like a pillow being sent when he was about to doze off. At such a critical moment, someone came to buy a song with great sincerity. But she also had a super powerful expert by her side. Why didn't you say so earlier? I can give you 1,000 songs as long as you have an expert on your side. Your sister. Zhou Xiaoyan. Gu Luoyen laughed. Good, a gentleman's word is as good as a horse's whip. It's a deal. But you're at a disadvantage. Nian is my good sister. Even if you didn't ask, I was going to protect her. You're basically giving me a good song for free. Zhou Xiaoduo chuckled and said with a simple and honest expression, your intentions are your business, I am willing to pay for my sister. This is my intention, mutually beneficial, both of us are willing. Hee hee. That laugh was really honest. Gu Luoyen sighed and said, you're so good to your sister as a brother. No wonder she protects you so much. Okay, let's be friends. I'll leave after Nian breaks through. I owe you this song. I hope there will be another day when I can make it up to you. At this moment, she was touched. She patted Zhou Xiaoduo's shoulder and said, it's so good that Nian has a brother like you. I'm so envious. Zhou Xiaoduo nodded honestly, smiled honestly, and scratched his head honestly, of course not. I'm just trying my best. I hope it can be of some help to my sister's breakthrough. Zhou Xiaoduo applauded and praised. Mu Yanyan and Gu Luoyen looked at Zhou Xiaoduo in amazement. This kid's brain works really fast. We haven't thought of this yet. This kid just casually said a few words, and it turned out to be a high-end public relations script. It was an irresistible temptation for the officials of South G City. With this temptation in front of them, the officials of South G City might even wish that Gu Luoyen would go a few days later. Yes, let's do that. Gu Luoyen's eyes lit up, and she immediately went to arrange it. Xiaoduo is really amazing. What's the name of the song you sang just now? Was it really a sudden inspiration? Gu Luoyen smiled. It was indeed a sudden inspiration. Inspiration is not something that I can control. As an expert in music theory, Miss Luoyen is naturally very clear about this. Zhou Xiaoduo scratched his head in a simple and honest manner. My sister can't make a breakthrough. My mind is in a mess, and I'm no better than an ant on a hot pan. Let alone a song, I can't even write. Gu Luoyen couldn't help but laugh. Don't worry, I've already agreed. Everything depends on effort. If you don't make it through that day, how can I truly be at ease? Zhou Xiaoduo looked up at the sky and sighed. You're really not going. Gu Luoyen said. Can you help me perfect the song Bloodstained Style? We'll talk about other things later. Wait until your sister makes a breakthrough. How about that? It was obvious that Gu Luoyen already knew that she had lost her credibility with Zhou Xiaoduo. She didn't dare to ask too much, and prioritized showing her sincerity and goodwill. This was the best way to ease the relationship between them. Zhou Xiaoduo rolled his eyes. After confirming that this girl wouldn't run away after getting the perfect song, he took advantage of the situation to raise a condition. That's a reasonable request. I have the responsibility and obligation to perfect this song. Taking 10,000 steps back, I don't feel at ease with you guys perfecting this song. After all, with your poor standards. Cough, what I mean is, I'm still the original author of this song. Zhou Xiaoduo's face was simple and honest. Don't worry. Every night after school, I have half an hour of free time. We'll perfect it. Before you leave Phoenix City, we'll definitely finish it. Gu Luoyen was stunned again. This kid, it was clear that he wouldn't act until he saw a rabbit. She was now certain that before Zhou Xiaoyan made a breakthrough, she definitely wouldn't be able to get the complete score. Gu Luoyen said a few more polite words, then left with her people. Mu Yanyan stayed behind. Looking at Zhou Xiaoduo, she wanted to say something but stopped. Zhou Xiaoduo frowned and said, "Teacher Mu, Meng Qinyu came to find me." Mu Yanyan took a deep breath and said, "How was it?" "She was killed by me." Mu Yanyan's body trembled and said, "Killed? Where's the body?" "I killed her until there wasn't even a skeleton left. Her body and soul were destroyed." Zhou Xiaoduo showed a satisfied expression. Mu Yanyan's face suddenly paled. She wanted to say something but stopped. After a while, she muttered, "Killing her is also good." Her beautiful face showed a trace of sadness, but she was forcefully suppressing it. After all, she was a disciple that she brought up. Zhou Xiaoduo observed her expression and said, "Teacher Mu, don't be sad." He didn't want to speak ill of a dead person. With Zhou Xiaoduo's temper, even when Meng Qinyu was alive, he didn't have time to scold her, let alone now that she was dead. But now looking at Mu Yanyan's disappointed look, how could he understand Mu Yanyan's mood? He said, "Teacher Mu, do you know why she came to find me?" She planned to use the Vitaline soul transfer method as a condition to save her life. Mu Yanyan's delicate body suddenly trembled. "Ah. She actually. This is not the true meaning of her plan." "But you suppressed it so many times, how can I catch up? Could it be that I, Zhou Xiaoduo, a man, would be suppressed by this Nian cat for the rest of my life, unable to turn over a new leaf? Oh heavens, oh earth, are you trying to play me to death? I want to be the master. Have you straightened out the sword technique, footwork and escape technique? How's your divine will?" Zhou Changlu tried hard to make an expression that said, "It's normal to suppress it 40 to 50 times. Then, he asked calmly, "Dad's method is really useful." Zhou Xiaoyan smiled and said, "My divine sense has almost doubled. What about you?" Zhou Xiaoduo's head drooped as he said, "I probably increased my spiritual sense by 1.5 times, close to 2 times, sigh." Zhou Xiaoyan said angrily, "You have so much more than me. Why are you still so stinky? Are you looking for a beating?" She wanted to use this as an excuse to teach someone a lesson. "It's not 40 to 50 times. What's there to be proud of?" Zhou Xiaoduo sighed. Zhou Changlu naturally understood what his son was thinking. He laughed and said, "Your sister Nian Nian is in the embryonic breathing realm. Her divine sense is stronger than yours. It's not a big deal for you to increase it." Zhou Xiaoduo looked even more dejected. "Yes. I understand." Sigh. This sigh was full of resentment and went straight to the heart. After dinner, Zhou Xiaoduo was dragged out by Zhou Xiaoyan. Zhou Xiaoduo was taken out by Zhou Xiaoduo. Zhou Xiaoduo had too many things to train now. Hammer, sword, hidden weapon, strength, body movement, footwork, escape. As the saying goes, hard work is the key to success. How could he not make the best use of his time? Damn, you're making money so fast now. Zhou Xiaoyan was very happy. She said, "You haven't paid the fine for a few days, and you've already accumulated so much. I took a look just now. It's more than 4 million. This speed of earning money. It's really..." Zhou Xiaoduo was unusually cautious. "Miss Nian Nian cat, let's negotiate. The frequency of fines like yours is too fast. There's no room for negotiation. As long as you do well enough, not only will you not be punished, but you'll also reap huge benefits. This is the coexistence of risks and benefits. How is this punishment?" After hearing this, Zhou Xiaoduo looked bitter. Nian Nian cat was indeed an iron abacus. She didn't give in at all. Just like before, from the moment he arrived at the place, Zhou Xiaoduo felt that his money had directly become an assembly line, flowing towards Zhou Xiaoyan. The calculation was done every hour. In the first half of the hour, the sister and brother would each practice the prescribed tasks. In the second half of the hour, Zhou Xiaoduo's progress would be assessed. Then, it started to flow out of 100, 200, 500, 1000, 2000. Seeing that the result was inevitable, Zhou Xiaoduo couldn't help but make up his mind. I'm going all out. I don't believe that I won't be able to get my money back even if I work so hard. Since risks and benefits coexist, no matter how big the risk is, there's still a possibility that I can turn the tables. What if I pass the test? Then, won't I earn back a lot of money? With this thought in mind, Zhou Xiaoduo held his breath and practiced with all his might. Although his cultivation level was low, the intensity of his practice was several times greater than Zhou Xiaoyan's. This was something that couldn't be helped. Zhou Xiaoyan's practice was very simple. On the other hand, Zhou Xiaoduo's practice was very complicated and varied. It wasn't that Zhou Xiaoduo didn't know the principle that miscellaneous things couldn't be compared to single-mindedness. However, what he had learned now was useful and meaningful. He couldn't let go of any of them. Therefore, he could only choose to practice all of them together. This practice lasted until 2:30 in the morning. Zhou Xiaoduo was drilled until he was hovering between life and death many times. Just the fine alone was more than 600,000. This number was the result of Zhou Xiaoyan giving him a few chances. During this time, she gave him a reward for reaching the standard 4 or 5 times. When Zhou Xiaoduo started to practice his hammer, Zhou Xiaoyan, who had a panoramic view of the scene, almost laughed until her belly hurt. These hammers were too big. Standing on the slightly soft ground, Zhou Xiaoduo raised his hammers and concentrated his center of gravity on his waist. In an instant, his whole body was pressed into the ground by his own weight, all the way to his calves. In this situation, it was hard to say whether he could face the enemy head-on, but he definitely couldn't escape from being laughed at by the enemy. When it was time to go back, Zhou Xiaoduo was so tired that he didn't even have the strength to speak. However, he was still very satisfied in his heart. Well, I only paid out 600,000 yuan today. Some of my results have already reached the standard. This is hope, this is an opportunity. At this rate, I won't be far from emptying Nian Cat's pockets. I must let her be in debt. Just you wait, Nian Cat. Master Zhuo will win you until you cry and go bankrupt. In the end, you will pay your debt with your body. With this beautiful wish, Zhou Xiaoduo fell into a deep sleep on the bed. This was thanks to Zhou Xiaoduo's solid body foundation and the Flaming Sun Sutra's amazing recovery ability. If it were an ordinary person, with an ordinary cultivation method, he would have been ruined by himself before Master Zhuo could become a master. In the morning, during breakfast, I've discussed it with your mother. Zhuo Chonglu's voice was faint, as if he was just giving a notice. We'll leave tomorrow morning. We'll go out and have fun. You two must stay at home and behave well. Zhou Xiaoyan and Zhou Xiaoduo were stunned. Dad, Mom, are you serious? Of course, we've already bought the tickets. Zhuo Chonglu showed the tickets with a proud and high-spirited face. Zhou Xiaoduo's face twisted. Mom, Dad, can't you wait for another week? Wouldn't it be great if we went out together as a family after a week? Son, are you an idiot? Why did I choose this time? It's to get rid of you. I heard that the head of the Meng family, Meng Tianyue, also suddenly fell ill during the shield investigation last night. In a very short period of time, his whole body was covered with black spots. He scratched his face with his hand and his eyeballs were directly scratched out. In the end, Director Jiang couldn't bear to see him tortured and simply killed him. I didn't know that Director Jiang was such a soft-hearted person before. The #1 ancient martial arts family that has shaken Phoenix City for thousands of years has fallen just like that. Li Chenglong sighed. If you ask me, I'd say that those who are unjust are doomed to destruction. These two families are known as the mainstays of Phoenix City, but the inhumane things they did behind the scenes have already spread like wildfire. Now, the time has come, and so has the retribution. Yu Moyan said coolly. The number one family, the number one financial group. Long Yusheng sighed. It doesn't matter if they die, but countless people will lose their jobs. The governor's office and the government will be very busy. Wan Lixiu said, things aren't that pessimistic. I heard from my dad that the Meng family's industrial chain is actually very intact. It's just that the Meng family's manpower is basically dead, and no one is specifically operating it. That's why it's in a state of paralysis. As long as it's nationalized, there will be professionals to deal with and manage it. At most, it will be chaotic for a short period of time. After the transition period, there won't be any problems. There may be turbulence, but there won't be any large-scale layoffs and many people losing their jobs. Or it can be directly nationalized and then packaged and sold to other financial groups. That's also a way out. That really saves a lot of trouble. Zhou Xiaoduo rolled his eyes. Someone has to clean up the mess and take over. Otherwise, the Meng family's business scope is nationwide. Millions of people will lose their jobs. Li Zhongming understood. Within 2 months, 3 giants fell one after another. Long Yusheng sighed. It's not just 3, right? Li Chenglong smirked, there's also the Long family. Didn't their old house turn into a big lake? What a beautiful scenery. If you have time, you should go fishing and play. Fishing your sister? Long Yusheng flew into a rage. The two of them started to wrestle. The other 4 people whistled and watched the show. Even Wan Lixiu was the same. She didn't go up to help them. One thing had to be said. Ever since Zhou Xiaoduo broke through to the Xiantian realm, his appetite had sharply decreased. However, the other 5 were still in a state of eating. So much so that every time they ate, the unscrupulous Zhou would take 4 or 5 steamed buns, shaking his head and sighing with a puzzled face. Hey! Is this a school or a pigsty? Look at these guys, they are simply the reincarnation of hungry ghosts. As a classmate, I'm really ashamed. Shameful. Every time he said this, the other 5 would look at him as if they wanted to eat him. But Zhou Xiaoduo didn't care at all. Look at me. That's because I'm handsome. Not convinced? If you're not convinced, you can come and hit me. If you're afraid, you can write Zhuo's name backwards. Well, of course, Boss Zhuo was not afraid. After his breakthrough, his combat strength had soared. Not to mention using a handheld weapon, he could kick the 5 of them into a pulp if he gave up both his hands and one of his legs. There was no other way. This was the gap in strength between a certain someone and the other 5. And this situation had stimulated the 5 of them to train hard. They hoped to break through to the Xiantian realm as soon as possible and stand on the same level as a certain someone. They hoped that one day, they would be able to defeat this unscrupulous guy. Zhou Xiaoduo had been waiting for news from Fang Yinhua. However, he didn't receive any news. Instead, Gu Luoyan called him again. Brother Zhuo, do you have time now? What's up? I've made some changes to the song you gave me. I want to ask you, the original author, to listen to it and give me some pointers. Alright, send it over. I'll listen to it. It had to be said that Gu Luoyan's music skills were not exaggerated. She was really good at it. Zhou Xiaoduo found a secluded place and listened to the revised song. He realized that it was almost done. Of course, there were still some flaws, but there were very few. The efficiency is really high. But it's already very good. Zhou Xiaoduo casually picked out a few flaws and sent them back. Of course, he couldn't give all the pointers in one go. What if Gu Luoyan ran away? Zhou Xiaoduo's evaluation of Gu Luoyan's character was lowered because he went back on his words. If he could take a chance, of course he would take a chance. After Gu Luoyan received the reply, she changed the song according to Zhuoxiaoduo's instructions. After listening to it again, she was even more impressed by Zhuoxiaoduo. I'm really not as good as his original work. Although it was only Zhao's modification, the entire song was completed to a higher level. Over the past few days, Qin Fangyang's emotions had become more and more unstable. The gloominess on his face had also become heavier and heavier. However, no matter how unstable Qin Fangyang's emotions were, he was still so attentive when teaching his students. His words and actions were full of kindness, and his patience was unprecedentedly abundant. It was as if he had unified two extremely disharmonious states. However, that was only a temporary forced coexistence. It was not a neutralization or cancellation. For example, no matter how mischievous Zhuoxiaoduo was, Qin Fangyang only watched. He did not scold him, nor did he do anything. For Qin Fangyang, this was absolutely impossible. However, at this moment, Qin Fangyang had fallen into this extreme state of dislocation. Qin Fangyang was really afraid. He was well aware of his current repressed emotions. He knew that he was like a volcano that was about to erupt. It was extremely easy for him to lose control of his emotions. There was no need for conflict. As long as the students slightly angered him, it could trigger the extreme brutality in his heart. With his current cultivation and fighting power, if he made a mistake, then it would be really bad. However, he did not look for Zhuoxiaoduo. Zhuoxiaoduo just had to provoke him. Teacher Qin, he. Zhuoxiaoduo laughed despicably. Why are you here instead of practicing? Qin Fangyang said unhappily, could it be that you have broken through to the embryonic breathing realm again? How can it be so fast? Teacher Qin, you think too highly of me. Zhuoxiaoduo laughed, I just came to ask. After breaking through to the innate realm, shouldn't I continue to touch and comment? The innate realm corresponds to the third model, right? When does it start? Qin Fangyang frowned. He realized that he had really forgotten about this matter. Chapter 290. Do you want to wait for them or do you want to take the test by yourself? Qin Fangyang asked. I'll do it by myself. Zhuoxiaoduo said, they're now suppressing their realms and accumulating their own foundation. If I tell them to wait for me, I'm afraid it will affect their state of mind. That's good too. Qin Fangyang felt that Zhuoxiaoduo's words made sense. He said, then get ready. I'll tell the headmaster that you'll take the test in a few days. Qin Fangyang paused and stared at Zhuoxiaoduo. Let me tell you, kid. Your previous two tests showed that your temperament is quite different. Zhuoxiaoduo said, different? Of course. An honest and kind person like me should be different. It's hard to find someone kinder than me in this world. Shut your mouth. Qin Fangyang felt a headache coming on. Can you be more cautious? Qin Fangyang warned. Zhuoxiaoduo quickly agreed without hesitation. Is there anything else? Qin Fangyang asked when he saw that Zhuoxiaoduo was not leaving. He looked like he wanted to say something. Teacher Qin. Zhuoxiaoduo pondered for a moment and said, I know what you're thinking now. The thing you've been thinking about is indeed not easy to do. Qin Fangyang's face immediately showed a pained expression. He closed his eyes and took a deep breath as if he was trying to calm his state of mind. However, there was little effect. About the thing you've been worrying about, I have an idea. However, I can only say that I'm trying. After all, there's no similar experience before. I dare not say that I'm confident. I can only say that it's a very slim hope. Do you want to give it a try? Zhuoxiaoduo considered his words carefully. He stammered and could not convey his meaning. However, Qin Fangyang's eyes suddenly lit up. What is it? What is it? He grabbed Zhuoxiaoduo. Teacher Qin, I need to make it clear in advance. What I'm doing is just to increase our hope. Or rather, it's to preserve our hope. The method I'm talking about has never been successful before. In fact, we don't even know if it's feasible. Zhou Xiaoduo hurriedly said, that's why I said that this method is probably just a way to comfort you. Don't get your hopes up. Qin Fangyang took a deep breath and said, just say it. Zhou Xiaoduo said, I don't know if reincarnation really exists in this world, nor do I know if reincarnation really exists in this world. No one has really seen those things. At best, they are just legends that have not been proven. But I believe in fate. Just like my physiognomy divine ability, I can peek into fate by observing one's appearance. Although I don't know the principle behind it, this is already the embodiment of fate. I believe Teacher Qin won't doubt my words, right? Qin Fangyang's eyes shone brightly. That's right. Your physiognomy divine ability is indeed marvelous and unprecedented. It's indeed the embodiment of fate. I'm sure of that. And the method I'm going to talk about is also derived from this. The trend of fate is, to a large extent, dependent on one's fate. For example, the people of the Meng family and the Ning family stole the fate of the phoenix vein for their own use. They benefited from it for many years, but once they suffered a backlash, they were immediately punished. Their entire family was in trouble and their bloodline was cut off. How can there be no reason for this? On the other hand, the old principal spent her entire life for the country and the people. For the welfare of the common people. She exhausted her mind and worked her heart out. Such a good person was not rewarded well. I think that if the heavens had eyes, they wouldn't have let her life be so miserable and bleak. Zhou Xiaoduo pondered and spoke from the bottom of his heart. At this moment, his face was even overflowing with radiance. He was no longer as sloppy as he usually was. If you want this coin to be connected to the old principal's luck, it's not enough to just let the old principal wear it. She has to wear it willingly. This is another problem. Zhou Xiaoduo frowned. Do you understand? This is another important reason why I came to you. The gloominess on Qin Fangyang's body had already dissipated by more than half at this time. He said with a smile, leave this matter to me. If it doesn't work, I'll reveal my identity. No matter what, you have to make her wear it. Even if she has thousands of incarnations and thousands of names, her original self cannot be changed. She is still my wife, Qin Fangyang. That will never change. How dare the wife not listen to her husband? I'll beat her up. Qin Fangyang's mood suddenly brightened. He could actually joke now. Begging for monthly votes. Recommendation votes. I won't write a single chapter today. Let's see how the monthly votes increase. He dug in his pocket and said, I prepared a thin rope. Shall I tie it to you? Tie it? Rope? He Yuanyue really couldn't help but roll her eyes. Did all men talk like this? It had been so many years, and he still hadn't improved at all. This stupid. It was simply outrageous. Did you think it was tying a dog? Tying it? Tying what? He Yuanyue said angrily, give it to me. I'll tie it. Tie it. Qin Fangyang smiled embarrassedly and said, yes, yes, yes. Then tie it properly. Don't let it fall. He Yuanyue felt that if it weren't for the fact that she couldn't move, and if it weren't for the fact that she had lost all her cultivation, she would probably stand up and beat him up until his nose was bruised and his face swollen. He Yuanyue took the thin rope and skillfully made a buckle. Then, she slowly put the coin through the hole that Qin Fangyang had just made. Then, she skillfully pulled it twice. Just like that, a pendant was formed. At the bottom, she even went down and tangled with it for a while, making a simple but beautiful tassel. Qin Fangyang watched in amazement. My 5 directions sword can go out and slash people, but if you make me do such a small thing. I reckon the coin will really melt. He Yuanyue held the coin in her hand and looked at it. She smiled and said, Thank you, Teacher Qin. Qin Fangyang said, You're not going to wear it? He Yuanyue smiled and said, all right, I'll wear it now. After all, this is Teacher Qin's kind intentions. As she said that, under Qin Fangyang's nervous gaze, she hung the simple pendant around her skinny neck. She lowered the coin and it just happened to be close to her heart. An inexplicable feeling. Her heart finally calmed down. In this life, I can finally wear the necklace he gave me. Go! I'll add such a longing for you and let you search for 20 to 30 years. When that time comes, there will be no more traces of me in this world. You should be able to let it go, right? Or find someone who looks similar to me. That will also give you some comfort in your heart. Fangyang. Take care of yourself for the rest of your life. We won't meet again. Qin Fangyang's heart finally calmed down. He had passed the most difficult hurdle. The future was bright and full of hope. Teacher Qin. Is there anything else? He Yuanyue asked him to leave. Oh, nothing. I'll leave now. Qin Fangyang nodded and said, it's okay, it's okay. He hurriedly left and couldn't help but smile. In the room, He Yuanyue gently stroked the coin and a smile appeared on her face. She was like a withered tree that was rejuvenated. Qin Fangyang, who was full of vitality, stood in front of the gravity room like a door god. Then, Wan Lixiu, who was the first to walk out of the gravity room, was mercilessly scolded by Qin Fangyang. Why are you so slow? It's only been a few times. What have you been doing these past few days? Did you get high on your birthday or did you become stupid? After that, Long Yusheng, Li Chenglong, and Li Changming were also mercilessly scolded by Qin Fangyang. As for Zhou Xiaoduo, who had broken through to the innate realm, not only did he have to endure Qin Fangyang's scolding, he also had to endure a beating that he hadn't experienced in a long time. Apart from being beaten up, he was also kicked 100 times like a shuttlecock. Zhou Xiaoduo was rolling in the air like a shuttlecock. His face was filled with confusion. Damn! What's going on? This old man. Why is he beating me up as if he's on steroids? Did he not give the coin away? Is he taking revenge on me? Finally, all 100 shuttlecocks were kicked. Zhou Xiaoduo covered his butt and looked at Qin Fangyang in confusion. Teacher Qin. Why? Didn't you send them out? You didn't take it. Keep it. Wear it. Qin Fangyang's face was full of smiles and he was in high spirits. While he was laughing, he kicked Zhou Xiaoduo and said, you talk too much. Then, he kicked another 100 shuttlecocks high in the air. Zhou Xiaoduo was speechless to the extreme. I'm really fucking. Enough. I finally understand. You beat me up whenever you're happy. Beating me up is the best way to express your inner joy? I'm really asking for trouble. I shouldn't have let you be happy. Wan Lixiu and the others lined up in a row and counted, 75. 79. 86, Teacher Qin, you can do it. Work hard. Work hard. Work hard. Looking at Boss Zhou being kicked in the air, it felt so good, and even more satisfying. After another 100 shuttlecocks were kicked, Qin Fangyang laughed and said, I've accumulated enough power. I'm going to shoot. The 5 of them rushed out like a swarm of bees. I'll be the goalkeeper. Coming. Qin Fangyang struck a pose and unleashed a beautiful crescent moon blade. Zhou Xiaoduo's plump body drew an elegant trajectory in the air like an antelope's horn, untraceable. In short, it was filled with the charm of the Tao as it flew out. 500 feet away, with a puff, Zhou Xiaoduo's football accurately landed in an empty trash can. The trash can lid flipped over with a soft sound and covered the mouth of the trash can. Encore! Wan Lixiu and the others applauded wildly. Beautiful! Another one! Qin Fangyang flung his sleeves and said, what nonsense are you talking about? School's over, all of you get lost. Don't forget to work hard at night. The path of cultivation is like sailing against the current. If you don't advance, you'll fall behind. Zhou Xiaoduo climbed out of the trash can in a daze and saw the 5 figures that were about to disappear. Long Yusheng and the others didn't dare to wait for Zhou Xiaoduo's revenge. Naturally, they scattered and ran as fast as they could. Teacher Qin. Zhou Xiaoduo stood alone in front of the trash can. He howled to the sky and said in a low voice, "When my cultivation surpasses yours." Qin Fangyang's body flashed and appeared in front of him. "What did you just say?" Zhou Xiaoduo said with a serious face, "I was saying, thank you for your extra care, Teacher Qin. You've cultivated my ability to resist attacks in all aspects and laid a solid foundation for my future in the martial arts world. When my cultivation surpasses yours, I'll definitely repay you well." Chapter 292. I knew you wouldn't say anything nice. Teacher Qin, you should rest early too. Don't tire yourself out. You've done so much for me. You've worked so hard and exhausted your mind. My heart aches. Are you going to scram or do you want to play another round of flying high? I'll scram now. Goodbye, Teacher Qin. Good night, Teacher Qin. Teacher Qin is mighty. Zhou Xiaoduo left like a wisp of smoke. That bastard. A smile appeared on Qin Fangyang's face. I love it when people flatter me, but I can't let him know about this. Zhou Xiaoduo ran to the school gate like a wisp of smoke, but he only returned home after seeing a few people. Now that he had to pay the fine every night, Zhou Xiaoduo's heart was very uneasy. It was better to prepare more money. Otherwise, he wouldn't feel at ease. The last fortune teller he saw was a young man who looked to be around 20 years old. He looked very weak. From the perspective of a profound cultivator, this person didn't have any cultivation aptitude. There was no room for debate about this. But in Zhou Xiaoduo's eyes, he saw something else on this person. It was an unimaginably dense power of providence. His entire body was covered by a layer of blood-red light. Zhou Xiaoduo was surprised by what he saw. He couldn't cultivate, but he had a blood-red light shield. What was this? While thinking, Zhou Xiaoduo couldn't help but use his providence points. He focused his power on his eyes and looked again. The moment he saw it, a ball of information that turned from blurry to clear instantly appeared in Zhou Xiaoduo's mind. After eliminating the messy information, Zhou Xiaoduo refined the information. Ji Weiran, born unable to cultivate, was the #1 researcher in single-target lethal weapons. Zhou Xiaoduo couldn't help but be shocked when he sorted out this person's information. His providence points could only be used by martial artists for 3 months, but it could be used by ordinary people. It was a wonder. However, this fellow was a rather unique existence. What do you want to see? Zhou Xiaoduo asked. The young man was a little nervous and said, Master, my name is Ji Weiran. I'm an ordinary person with no talent for cultivation, but my grades are not bad. Right now, I am faced with the choice of entering a higher school. One is the School of Biochemistry, and the other is Qingzhou University. But I can't make up my mind on which choice to make, so. Ji Weiran took out a stack of cash from his pocket and said, Master, please enlighten me. Zhou Xiaoduo nodded and casually wrote a few words, saying, Fate brought us together. I'll take a look at it when I get home. Fate will never end. Thank you for your guidance, Grandmaster. Ji Weiran took the note and bowed solemnly before turning to leave. Only when he reached home did he open the note. What did Master Zhou say? Ji Weiran's parents were obviously eager to know what Zhou Xiaoduo's guidance was. It says, Martial arts research. Ji Weiran was confused. Martial arts research? Martial arts research is my third choice. Why is it martial arts research? Looking at it carefully, there was a small line of words below the judgment on the note. A man should walk on the rampage and have 1,000 feet of love in his heart. Even if he can't kill a strong enemy, he can still use a surprise weapon. Ji Weiran suddenly had an epiphany in his heart. It was as if the thing that he had been racking his brains over, the thing that had always been vague and blurry, had suddenly become clear. It was a subtle feeling as if the clouds had been parted to reveal the blue sky. He couldn't help but blurt out, "Not bad, not bad. What I hate most in my life is that I don't have the talent for cultivation and can't kill on the battlefield. But I can research weapons for the warriors in front of me. Weapons, as long as I can develop weapons that are sharp enough, isn't it the same as killing the enemy? That's what I want to do the most. As for the others, they can only go out to work after school. What's the use of becoming a CEO?" Ji Weiran's eyes lit up. Master Zhua is indeed Master Zhua. He can see through the fog in my heart with one look. I've decided. I'm going to the School of Martial Arts. His father was shocked. Ran, you have to think carefully. Dad, there's no need to think about it anymore. This is the unemployment that I've been pursuing all my life. Even if I can only develop one weapon in my life, or help others develop one weapon, it'll be enough to satisfy my whole life. This is the embodiment of my life's value. Zhua Xiaoduo went home all the way. Why are you back so early today? Zhua Chonglu was a little puzzled. Hee. I'm tired. Zhua Xiaoduo chuckled. He wouldn't say that he rushed back because his parents were about to go on a trip and he couldn't bear to part with them. Zhua Xiaonian also came back early while they were talking. During dinner, she couldn't stop laughing and said, "What kind of drug did you give Gu Luoyan? She's going crazy. She keeps pestering me to ask when you're free." Zhua Xiaoduo snorted. "She said she would call you in the afternoon, but you didn't pick up." Zhua Xiaonian was really happy about this. She was overjoyed when she thought of the gloomy look on Gu Luoyan's face when she came looking for her. "Why should I pick up?" Zhua Xiaoduo snorted and said, "All she wants is a song. I have so many things to do that I'm so busy that I'm about to hit the back of my head with my heels, but she only cares about her song. If I continue to indulge her temper, then I'll be damned. So what if she's a big star?" Zhua Xiaonian was even more excited. "I explained a lot for you. I said you must be cultivating and have no time to contact her. Of course I'm cultivating." Zhua Xiaoduo rolled his eyes and said, "I think this girl has taken a liking to me because of my talent. Why else would she be so enthusiastic?" But, is he that kind of person? Fang Yinhua clearly said that the UMNO alliance forces are not united. They are all calculated for their own benefits. There are very few people who are so selfless, right? Zhua Xiaoduo frowned. He had already sorted out two possibilities in his mind. First, Meng Qiantian is a member of the UMNO alliance. Second, Meng Qiantian is not a member of the UMNO alliance. But the second possibility was obviously untenable. So, only the first possibility was left. The same two possibilities. First, Meng Qiantian is a selfless person in the UMNO alliance. Second, Meng Qiantian is a selfish person. But the second possibility was untenable. If this is the case, then Meng Qiantian is quite difficult to deal with. This plan was so detailed that even the emissary who came up with this plan wouldn't be able to come up with such a detailed plan. Everything was presented to Zhua Xiaoduo without leaving out a single detail. At the bottom of the message, there was a note, "Tentative plan. It may need to be confirmed again." After confirming, if there were no changes, they wouldn't send any more messages. If there were any changes, they would contact again. However, this last note made Zhua Xiaoduo ponder. The message said, "The current strength displayed by the UMNO alliance is not enough to control the situation. I suspect that the emissaries have other arrangements. This is the habit of the emissaries. They would never completely reveal their final trump card in front of others, And they would never arrange a situation where there is no way out, especially against themselves. Therefore, we have to leave some people behind to guard against certain unforeseen and unforeseen events that would not happen under normal circumstances. Or, we have to guard against situations where the first move is a killer move. This message made Zhuoxiaoduo's face turn ugly. However, this was still within Zhuoxiaoduo's expectations. If I were the emissary, I wouldn't have made all my arrangements so clear and exposed them in front of others. I would definitely have left behind a trump card and a way out. Otherwise, I wouldn't even be able to guarantee my own safety. How could I be at ease? But what exactly was the emissary's trump card? No matter if we cultivate, sleep, or eat, I believe there are already many eyes watching us in the dark. Once we make a move, I'm afraid that the other party's plan will change according to us. Now that we know the other party's possible movements, then we should try our best to stabilize them. Let them follow the plan that we've discussed now. This is our biggest advantage. Based on this reason, our rhythm of life can't be messed up at all. Just go on as usual. Okay, I understand. But this matter, you must never, ever, ever tell your master. Zhuoxiaoduo warned solemnly. Master Mu is still covered by the white tiger aura. She's a weak point in our battle formation. I still can't determine the source of her calamity. I can only let it be for the time being. Fortunately, her aura doesn't seem to be fatal now. I've already reminded Master many times. Zhuoxiaoyan said in distress. There's no point in reminding Yunyun now. Zhuoxiaoduo said in a deep voice, everything will be settled by tomorrow night. The wind outside was getting stronger and stronger. Especially after midnight, the wind force increased by another level, reaching level 9. And this level of wind force was already the highest limit that many houses could withstand. Countless houses built in the suburbs, some of which were not sturdy enough, were already showing signs of swaying. Many things that were placed outside were all swept up by the strong wind. They flew in circles above Phoenix City and then fell to God knows where. At this moment, the temperature had officially dropped to below zero. It was the right temperature to wear a cotton-padded coat. The north wind was even crazier than before, as if it wanted to completely blow away the little bit of heat in the world. Zhuoxiaoduo went to the roof of his house. After taking a look for a moment, he immediately came down. The phoenix's feet were completely unsheathed. It was roaming freely, its wings leisurely flapping that it was as if it was strolling and looking at the place that gave birth to it. A lot of new letters have come in these few days. Help me open them and read them to me. These children. He Yuanyue smiled and said, these are all the children in my heart. Yes. Hu Ruoyun took out 3 thick stacks of letters, opened the top one, and began to read the contents of the letter. This was a letter written to He Yuanyue by the second high school students who had already traveled all over the world. They reported their achievements, joy, and some confusion during this period of time. Whenever she read these letters, He Yuanyue's expression was always happy and satisfied. Zhuoxiaoduo's mood was exceptionally heavy. The first thing he did when he came down from upstairs was to call Gu Luoyan. How is it? Ready at any time. After 8:00 tonight, the 2 god shadows under Miss Luoyan must be in place, no delay. No problem. Please. Zhuoxiaoduo took a deep breath. There are still 10 hours. In these last 10 hours, what else can I do? Zhuoxiaoduo frowned, thinking hard. He reflected over and over again on his arrangements, whether it was perfect, whether it was flawless, whether there were still loopholes. Mu Yanyan, Han Song, Qin Fangyang, and the others gathered together and urgently discussed. All the students of Phoenix City's Star Martial Arts Academy were dispersed. The breakthrough location was confirmed. Star Martial Spirit Crystal. Today, the battle between the Astral Souls and the Umno Alliance was inevitable. For their side, they needed to choose a location that was easy to defend and difficult to attack. Qin Fangyang immediately sent the message back to Zhou Xiaoduo. The breakthrough location is confirmed, Star Marshal Spirit Crystal. Got it. Zhou Xiaoduo paced back and forth in the gravity room. Star Marshal Spirit Crystal, Star Marshal Spirit Crystal. The moment the breakthrough location was confirmed, Zhou Xiaoduo felt his mind was in a mess. His thoughts were in an unprecedented mess, and it was difficult to control. Chapter 296. The three sides of the fire burned the night sky red. However, under the influence of the heavy snow, there were not many people who could see it. The three fires continued to burn fiercely, as if they were competing with the heavy snow. Zhou Xiaoduo only felt that the thick snowflakes were like slaps on his face. However, he did not stop. His only goal was to turn back the phoenix. There was one thing that he had never mentioned. Tonight was Zhou Xiaonian's calamity. If she did not live, she would die. However, tonight was also Zhou Xiaoduo's calamity. Previously, the people of the Umno Alliance were full of misgivings and did not dare to attack him. However, now that the Phoenix Pulse spirit had been determined, it was useless to keep Zhou Xiaoduo alive. If they could kill Zhou Xiaoduo before the time limit, they could use it to mess up Zhou Xiaonian's determination. All the hidden combat power of the Umno Alliance in Phoenix City, those who were qualified, had gone to surround and kill Zhou Xiaonian. As for the remaining people, there were about 100 people in the embryonic breathing realm and even the innate realm. The goal of these people was to kill Zhou Xiaoduo as quickly as possible tonight. This was actually one of the news that Fang Yinhua had sent. However, Zhou Xiaoduo had deliberately concealed it. Tonight. It seems that I can't read their fortune. Facing the heavy snow, Zhou Xiaoduo moved forward quickly. He actually had such a thought in his mind. He deeply felt that it was a pity. The people who had come to kill him tonight were all pieces of luck points. However, there were too many of them, and there was no time for him to deceive them. What a pity. Pieces of heavy snow fell, and each piece was almost the size of a palm. It was not just blocking one's vision, but also making it impossible to open one's eyes. The entire Phoenix City, including the windows of every house, had been covered by heavy snow. Many houses did not even have any light shining through. The entire city was like a dead city at this moment. It was completely silent. Zhou Xiaoduo moved faster and faster. From the moment he left the house, he had been turning left and right. In the shortest amount of time, he had rushed through the area with the most complicated environment and the highest population. After about 5 to 6 kilometers, the city gate appeared in front of him. However, he knew that his peaceful journey was about to end. It had come to an end. Although he had scruples about the ordinary people, his enemies who wanted to target him also had scruples. Martial art practitioners fighting could not hurt ordinary people. This was the iron law of the continent. However, in such an open area, both sides had no scruples. As expected. There was a whistle in front. A voice, without any scruples, said, "That brat is here." Behind him, there was the sound of the wind. So this kid ran out. I wonder if he's running away after hearing the news, or is he seeking death? A sharp whistle suddenly sounded. Kill! The sharp sound of the wind breaking followed. In the almost impenetrable snow, a thin sword suddenly appeared, shining with a cold light. Behind it was a white figure that almost blended in with the snow. Zhou Xiaoduo did not even turn his head. With a wave of his right hand, 3 small white jade gourds merged into the heavy snow. With a light dang sound, the first gourd accurately hit the opponent's thin sword, but sparks flew in all directions. The man's body shook, and he was still wondering how this brat could have such great strength. A mere concealed weapon was actually able to shake off his thin sword. Then, he felt a sharp pain in his eyes. The other 2 white jade gourds followed. They were just as accurate. They shot into the man's eye sockets. After breaking his eyeballs, they spun all the way into his brain. Finally, they met in the middle of his brain. Master Zhua, you must be tired after talking so much. Now, it's my turn. The person smiled faintly and looked at Zhua Xiaoduo with hawk-like eyes. Master Zhua, in today's battle, you've made a total of 3 fatal mistakes. Oh? Zhua Xiaoduo tilted his head curiously. The first mistake was that when you saw these bonfires, you should have rushed past them without stopping. With the divine weapon in your hand, we might not have been able to stop you. If that was the case, you might have had a chance to escape. Second, when I spoke to you at the beginning, if you didn't answer and forced your way out, there was still hope. Third, when you were teaching us a lesson, if you chose to retreat in another direction, there was still hope for you to escape. But now... He smiled faintly. We've surrounded you from all sides. Master Zhua, you've always been known for your divine foresight and your ability to predict life and death. But this time, you've made 3 fatal mistakes in a row. I don't know whether it's lamentable or regrettable. Zhua Xiaoduo looked back. There were more than a dozen people behind him, armed with sabers and swords. There were also more than 20 people on the left and right, ready to fight. In front of him, there were a total of 25 people with murderous eyes, ready to attack at any time. That's a lot of people. Zhua Xiaoduo clicked his tongue in praise. This formation is really scary. Let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4. Why are there so many of them? A total of 84 people. This number isn't very auspicious. As the saying goes, if there are 73 or 84 people, the King of Hell won't summon you. You guys are really... I don't know what to say. Since you don't want to say anything more, let's do it. I'm very confident that I can get rid of all of you. As for whether I can really get rid of you, let's talk about it after we're done. What if you're all dead? Why don't we make a bet? What bet? Let's bet that I can read your faces. All 84 of you are going to face a bloody disaster and your lives are in danger. If you're all dead, then naturally I can read your faces accurately. The leader laughed loudly. Read our faces? Ha ha ha, good. If we're all dead, then naturally you can read our faces accurately. But if you're dead, Master Zhua, then I can't read your faces accurately. Zhua Xiaoduo's eyes lit up like light bulbs. Bloody hell, I can still reap some benefits at the end? These people are really good people. I didn't even count on them, and they actually agreed to it just like that. I'm going to be rich. Zhua Xiaoduo's spirits were lifted. His body swayed, and a pile of weights fell to the ground with a clatter. His hands moved again, and another pile of debris fell to the ground. Then, he stretched his hands forward. With 2 loud bangs, the 2 5,000-kilogram armed guards fell to the ground and smashed a deep hole in the ground. So brisk. Zhua Xiaoduo puffed up his chest. I wasn't joking just now. I'm really confident. Putting these down, I feel like I can fly. I can fly. You guys, you're waiting for everyone to gather, and I'm also waiting for you to gather. If you don't gather, how can Master Zhua kill to his heart's content? With a wave of his right hand, he had already collected all of the weights on the ground. Then, he pointed his long sword and took 3 big steps forward. Suddenly, he shouted, "Come up. Prepare to die." With a loud roar, the dense snow in the air was actually shattered by this roar, turning into fine dust that filled the sky. Even without the leader's reminder, everyone's face became unprecedentedly solemn. Everyone could see that this Master Zhua was definitely not the weakling in the intelligence report. They couldn't help but curse in their hearts. Damn it, the intelligence department was simply eating shit. They asked us to catch a rabbit, but in the end, the rabbit's original form was actually a Tyrannosaurus rex that could eat all of us. This was really fucked up. Fortunately, they had more people on their side. They didn't believe that this kid could turn the sky upside down. Looking at the hole in the ground caused by the weights, the leader's eyebrows twitched. This guy that he had been running all the way here, and he had been carrying these all the time. At least more than 10,000 kilograms of weights. And he had been fighting with these. The first thought, monster. The second thought, this guy was telling the truth. He really wanted to destroy all of us. Previously, he didn't feel that we were dangerous at all. Otherwise, he would have removed these weights long ago. And the third thought, could it be that he really had the overwhelming strength to destroy all of us? Suddenly, the pressure in their hearts was infinitely greater. Everyone, be careful. This kid's sword is very strange. Everyone, use your heavy weapons. The leader thought for a while, but still didn't say that this kid was very strange. It would shake the morale of the army. Understood. When the UMNO alliance attacked, everyone rushed forward like a swarm of bees. 3 inside and 3 outside, surrounding them tightly. Ferocious. Strength in numbers. Watch out for my hidden weapons. In the heavy snow, Zhuo roared. Everyone was instantly on guard, but Zhuo didn't use any hidden weapons. His opponents were all wearing so thick that even their ears were covered with earmuffs. The outside of the earmuffs was actually made of iron. If he used his own weapon to block his eyes, hidden weapons would be useless. He suddenly jumped up and used the star steps at full strength. His body seemed to have turned into a series of afterimages. There were even faint dots of starlight that spread out, sparkling and translucent. The long sword in his hand also used a strange and tricky sword technique that had never been seen before. Drizzle sword. Chapter 298. The strength that Zhuo exerted on the cat spirit sword could be said to be very little, or perhaps it could be said that he was unusually cautious. He didn't want to waste even a little bit of energy. Instead, he used most of his strength on the dragon blood flying dagger. The long sword took lives and injured people, while the dragon blood flying dagger continuously took away the essence of their strength. The combination of the two was flawless. Thump, thump, thump. The 3 of them covered their crotches in pain. They couldn't imagine how this brat could kick their crotches so skillfully. While they were in pain, a figure flashed in front of them. A red light flashed, and all the strength in their bodies disappeared instantly. Even their soul consciousness was extinguished. Among the people who were besieging them, the one with the highest cultivation was only at the pinnacle of the elixir primordial realm. After being hit by the fatal blow, their life was almost over. Then, they were hit by the dragon blood flying dagger, and their blood chi and essence were instantly devoured. Moreover, the speed of the process was extremely fast, and there was no stagnation at all. With such a good atmosphere and a rare opportunity to recharge, Zhuo wouldn't let it go no matter what. For the previous batch of enemies, he couldn't read their fortune and didn't recharge the dragon blood flying dagger. Master Zhua already felt that he had suffered a loss. If the dragon blood flying dagger in front of him couldn't be used for a good meal, Zhuo felt that he had suffered a great loss. He had let down the opportunity that heaven had given him to become stronger. He had let down the UMNO alliance's intention of giving him energy. Zhuo's figure flashed like a ghost in the heavy snow. Just as the starlight flashed on the right, his dragon blood flying dagger had already pierced into the enemy's chest from the left. Just as the people in the north were screaming, the enemies in the south were already feeling pain in their waists. Then, all the essence and blood in their bodies were sucked dry, and they died. While everyone was guarding against the sword and the dragon blood flying dagger, there were a few people who were rolling on the ground, holding their crotches and screaming. Before Zhuo's cultivation broke through to the innate realm, his strength had already reached the pinnacle of the embryonic breathing realm. Now that he had broken through, he was even more powerful. He dashed left and right, as if there was no one there. All use heavy weapons, attack indiscriminately. The leader warned loudly. He was now certain that Zhuxiao's agility had not only increased by a level after removing the weight, but it was as if he had become a completely different person. Especially that starry sky steps. It was obvious that it had already reached the legendary realm of great success, stepping on the starry sky, shining astral souls. It was impossible to catch Zhuxiao's movements and kill him when faced with such nimble and transcendent footwork. They could only attack indiscriminately and strike him down first to stop his formless and shadowless movements. When he saw Zhuxiao's movements become more and more elusive, and in less than 10 minutes of time, he'd already killed 19 congenital realm experts on his side. Besides exploding with rage, he hurriedly warned and pointed out the strategy to deal with the enemy. Zhuxiao's current attacking tactic target was very simple. For the time being, he would not touch any of the embryonic breathing realm experts. However, as long as it was an enemy of the innate realm, they would definitely be in his sights. The Umno Alliance had sent 37 Greater Heaven stage experts with pinnacle of the innate realm. Within a short period of time, 25 of them had already been defeated by Zhuxiao. His figure had always been erratic, and he was even more agile than before. Puff, puff, puff. Another 3 Greater Heaven stage experts died at the hands of Zhuxiao. Their bodies instantly flew out like rotten wood. The red glow of the dragon blood flying dagger was getting thicker and thicker. In the vast expanse of white snow, it was also getting more and more conspicuous. Attack that red glow indiscriminately. The leader roared again. Zhuxiao sighed in his heart. If one had to point out the weakness of the dragon blood flying dagger, it would be that its appearance was too obvious, especially in such an environment that he tried his best to dodge and counterattack with his sword. Once again, he killed 2 more Greater Heaven stage experts. However, the sword in his hand could not avoid colliding with the enemy's heavy weapon. With this loud bang, a mace finally made contact with Zhuxiao's sword for the first time. Immediately, sparks flew everywhere. Zhuxiao's figure, who had endured the impact, was finally revealed. He even staggered back in midair. Now, only 7 of the 37 Greater Heaven stage experts were left. The 7 of them looked at each other. They could all see the fear in each other's eyes. This brat was simply an innate realm harvester. Any Greater Heaven stage expert who encountered Zhuxiao would not only die, but they would also not be able to resist or parry. They would die upon contact. Up until now, there had not been an exception. The 7 of them had already lost all their courage. At this moment, when they saw Zhuxiao's figure appear, their first reaction was not to attack. Instead, they subconsciously retreated a few steps. Zhuxiao's body was still staggered in midair. However, his long sword was trembling and flickering continuously. It emitted rays of sword light like a drizzle, laying down streaks of sword chi in front of him. He had already put away the dragon blood flying dagger that had eaten its fill. At this moment, he only had the spirit cat sword to perform the drizzle swordsmanship with all his might. Opportunity. When the Umno Alliance saw Zhuxiao appear, their eyes lit up. Countless weapons swarmed forward and crazily smashed towards Zhuxiao, who was in midair. Obviously, they wanted to finish him off in one blow. The tip of Zhuxiao's long sword flashed and accurately tapped on an incoming broadsword. The moment the long sword bent slightly, his body had already borrowed the force and immediately bounced up like a feather. He escaped from the sharp weapons and somersaulted in midair. Once again, he used the star steps. Starlight flashed again. Hit where the starlight is. Everyone attack together. Don't give him a chance to land. The leader shouted loudly. No matter how exquisite Zhuxiao's response was, no matter how miraculous the starry sky steps was, his traces had been exposed in the end. If they were to seize the opportunity to pursue and attack, and with the convenience of a group attack, there was no reason for them to fail. The 50 people from the Umno Alliance moved together. A tight encirclement was finally completed. They were all experts in the embryonic breathing realm. They wanted to kill him in one blow. Even if they hurt their own people, they would not hesitate. This brat was really too dangerous. If it was a one-on-one, or even a siege with only a few people, it was hard to say who would emerge victorious. At this moment, Zhou Xiaoduo let out a long howl. The nimble cat's sword drew an elegant arc and suddenly retracted. A dense sword light carried Zhou Xiaoduo's body all the way up. The heavy snow was still too dense. Zhou Xiaoduo smoothly rushed into the thick snow, but they could not see him anymore. Judging by the momentum of this charge, it should be at least 30 meters high. The leader was very experienced and shouted, "But he can't turn. He doesn't have that ability. The time he can stay in the air is even more limited. He just rushed up to take a breath. Sooner or later, he will come back down. Everyone, get ready. The heavy snow in the sky is obscuring our vision. Don't chase after him, in case we get ambushed." The leader commanded calmly and had the demeanor of a general. The people from the UMNO alliance who were involved in the siege were all reassured. The mentality of victory was in their hands spontaneously grew. Although they had lost a lot of people, they had already forced this brat into the air. It was the same as falling into a dead end. There was no suspense in this battle. It was a foregone conclusion that they would win. Everyone was ready, waiting for the moment when Zhou Xiaoduo came back down from the sky. With a long howl, Zhou Xiaoduo rushed all the way up. In an instant, he had reached a position of 50 meters in the air. At the moment when he reached the highest point, Zhou Xiaoduo turned his hand and put away the nimble cat's sword. Then, a cold smile appeared on his face. He opened his hands and 2 sledgehammers appeared in his hands. How could Zhou Xiaoduo not have thought of the current situation? No, it should be said that this situation was deliberately created by him. He wanted to use the opponent's cognitive blind spot to create a reversal of the world. Just now, the nimble cat's sword was the same. Now, the nimble cat's sword was the same as the 2 sledgehammers. This is the surprise that I have for you. The moment the 2 sledgehammers were in his hands, Zhou Xiaoduo's body began to spin rapidly. Then, he drove the 2 sledgehammers and spun rapidly in the air like a hurricane. Then, he turned his body upside down. At this moment, the sledgehammer's rotational inertia was stimulated. The inertia of the sledgehammers drove Zhou Xiaoduo's body and made a whooshing sound in the wind. The people of the UMNO alliance were waiting for this opportunity. And Zhou Xiaoduo was also waiting for this opportunity. Everyone from the enemy's side was here. It was really, really good. Unfortunately, once the 2 sledgehammers were used, the dragon blood flying dagger could not absorb anything. He was now using the sledgehammers that he usually used for training. The 99 nimble cat hammers were still a little too heavy for him. However, this pair of sledgehammers was enough. Sledgehammers. Zhou Xiaoduo had already memorized his godfather's sledgehammers in his first secret manual. After a loud shout in the air, everyone saw a black whirlwind suddenly appear. It directly swept away all the snowflakes in the sky and made them disappear without a trace. Above everyone's head, it seemed like a universe black hole had appeared. An unprecedentedly violent whirlwind suddenly descended. The 2 sledgehammers had already completed the first move of the sledgehammers in the air. When the second move started, the strong wind expanded to a radius of 10 feet. The weapons created a strange sound that was similar to the cries of ghosts and howls of gods. Woo, the sound continued to be heard, and it became louder and louder. Zhou Xiaoduo and his sledgehammers fell like a whirlwind and rushed into the crowd. The sledgehammers of 4,000 kilograms, with the support of the highest inertia, could exert a great force that was simply unheard of. Puff, puff, puff. Ah! The 15 people who bore the brunt of the sledgehammer wind were almost unable to resist. Blood flowed out of their 7 orifices, and their chests collapsed. They were sent flying out while flailing their arms and legs. They were sent flying out together with their weapons. As they flew out, they disintegrated and turned into blood-red fireworks, which were dazzling in the white snowflakes. Such heavy weapons, coupled with the complete first move of the sledgehammers, would break with a touch, and collapse with a scratch. As for flesh and blood, the effect was even more shocking. There was no resistance, no defense, and everything was ignored. You're tuning into the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.